What is up, you guys? This is Mini Superheroes Today. Hey guys, in today's video, I'll be showing you how to build custom minifigures of the characters from the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, which I really enjoyed. It was a nice, quick, easy, light way to finish off Marvel Phase 4, and I can't wait to get into Phase 5 as the multiverse saga continues. Anyways, let's start building these figures, and if you haven't already, be sure to hit like and subscribe down below. So we see Yondu in a cartoon sequence at the beginning, and I'm gonna skip over how to build Craglin and Teenage Quill, basically just use parts that are slightly different than what we're going to use later. I'll touch on that. But anyways, Yondu from this scene is just the regular Yondu minifigure with purple arms added because he has purple sleeves in the series episode. And I gave him a short red mohawk because this is more what his mohawk looked like in Guardians 1 and in this segment of the special. So going roughly in order of appearance and in order of who speaks in the episode, yes, I rewatched it and took notes in that order, we have Nebula. Now this Nebula, you can really use any of the Nebula heads we've gotten over the years. Now the Nebula from the Advent calendar does have the little orange area of her face, but interestingly in the special, she doesn't have that orange sliver anymore. So that's more accurate for Endgame than it is for the special, but regardless, I used this torso from, I believe, Gamora from Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 with a blue arm from Ayla Secura to match the head. We've got a robotic arm on this side, and these legs were used on Drax, Gamora, and Star-Lord from Guardians 1, so you can get it from any of those. Drax gets a new outfit for this special, and on one hand, it's like, oh, cool, now we can build an easier Drax, but on the other hand, I don't know about that. So let me explain what I mean. We have the Drax in his holiday sweater from the Advent calendar, and a lot of people, myself included, were excited by Drax's green skin tone, but I'm sorry, in the special, his skin does look gray in this special. So I went ahead and used the old Drax head and arms from the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 sets. I used the handcuff method to take a pair of handcuffs, cut the chain off between them, and put them back on the wrists to add a little bulk. The torso comes from one of the First Order Engineer Specialist characters from the Battle Packs from a few years back, and the legs come from Electro from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Polybag. For Mantis, I went ahead and used the exact figure I used in my Endgame showcase, and to build her, well, I think I used a different torso. Anyways, doesn't really matter. The torso comes from Mantis, as does the head and hair. The arms come from Poison Ivy, and you'll have to use the eraser method to get the printing off of the arms, but that way you get bare shoulders with green sleeves on the bottom. Black gloves tie all that together with the skirt piece from that same Lego Batman movie, Poison Ivy. You just have to position it so that the front is showing, and that's pretty easy to do. Just lift up the torso and you can see that those flaps lift up there. If you have that piece, you'll know what I'm talking about. The legs come from Lloyd from the Lego Ninjago movie, and I gave her this candy cane accessory, which she has in the special, and that comes from the Series 23 collectible minifigure series. So yeah, that ties it all together. Craglin is relatively easy to make because he only has two rare parts, and you might have both of them if you're an avid watcher of the channel and you try to get all the figures I use for customs. So for Craglin, the head comes from Star-Lord from Volume 1 or from Bucky from Civil War, so that makes that nice and easy. The Mohawk piece comes from Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. The nice thing about that set is if you get the set that he came in, it actually comes with a spare piece, so you can make a Craglin figure with the spare one and use the other one on the regular old Yondu. Now the torso is relatively rare as well. It comes from the Rocket Raccoon Polybag minifigure, but I popped on some regular dark red arms because I assume that you don't have more than one of that Rocket Raccoon Polybag figure, so I wanted to make things as easy as possible. So since Craglin is a little less important than Star-Lord, I gave him the regular arms with tan hands and those legs from Gamora, Star-Lord, or Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Now, Star-Lord is an interesting figure because there's not really one way to make him as accurate as we see in the special, so I'm going to show you my favorite way to make a custom Star-Lord, and this is what I used in my Infinity War and Endgame showcase. You use the torso from Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 or Infinity War. That way you get the open jacket look, which is what he does wear in this special. He has the open jacket going on. Then the head and hair come from Star-Lord, Owen Grady. It's come in a lot of different places over the years. As mentioned mentioned, these arms with the pipe printing on the side come from Rocket Raccoon from the Toys R Us exclusive polybag from many years ago. Then I gave him Star-Lord's dark blasters as well as the legs from Wild Style from the Lego Movie 2. Now let's move him aside. I just want to show you some alternate options here. If you get the Guardians of the Galaxy Advent Calendar, this is the minifigure you get in there. And honestly, it looks pretty good too. It's less detailed, but for those out there that don't have all the pieces but still want to make some minifigures from this, if you buy that Advent Calendar, at least you can do it this way. I'll drop a link in the description below where you can check that Advent Calendar out if you haven't picked it up yet. And finally, we have the Star-Lord from the Guardians ship, which is really, really awesome. And basically on this, it's just the figure from that. You know, the torso's the same as the Advent Calendar. The heads are the same across all three. You get the Superman curl hairstyle on this, which is nice. And you get dual molded legs, which is nice. You get lighter guns. And I did add the Rocket Raccoon polybag arms on this because I think it makes it look that much better. But of course, if you don't have those, you don't have to add them. It just makes the figure look that much better. Now, Rocket was an interesting figure because in the Advent Calendar that goes with this is the Rocket minifigure you get. It's pretty good. He's got the brown head, the brown tail, but in the special, he actually is wearing an outfit that's more similar to his blue outfit from Infinity War. So, unfortunately, the Advent Calendar one is not accurate to what we get in the special. So, I used the Advent Calendar figure for the head and tail. I put on some brown arms, putting those onto the torso and legs from Rocket from either Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 or Avengers Infinity War. When Cosmo showed up in this holiday special, I was like, oh great, how am I going to make this into a custom minifigure? But if there's a will, there's a way. So the body I used is from Crypto the Super Dog from Lego DC, because that gets you the white body for Cosmo's space outfit. Then for the little red piece around her neck that is kind of like what would hold her space bubble on, I just used a red bandana, and the head is from Scooby-Doo because that's the closest color we can get to Cosmo. So is this perfect? Not by any stretch of the imagination, but is it a good representation using pieces that exist from Lego right now? You bet it is. Hopefully for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, if Cosmo is in it, we'll get more accurate printed pieces for that, but until then, this is a good alternative. Now for Teenage Groot, I did break the purist method. If you just want to use the regular old Groot minifigure from the Advent Calendar, that's perfectly fine. That looks a little something like this. But I wanted to bulk up Groot because Groot is very, very bulky in this episode, or the special rather. So what I did is I took some 1x1 studs to put Groot on there so that he's significantly taller than just the minifigure version. And then I added this shoulder piece that comes from Izzy Hawthorne from Lego Lightyear. Now, I did break the purist method for this. I actually had to use a little bit of nail polish remover with a Q-tip to get the red printing off of this shoulder and the little bit of printing off the torso. Now, you could see in light that the printing actually did not come off entirely, but it came off enough to show you what it looks like, and I do think that it helps bulk Groot up. I can understand if you don't want to destroy the pieces. I just happen to have an extra of this piece, so I was like, I'll give it a go. And I actually do like the end result, especially because you can leave this shoulder with the brown on there. Adds a little variation to the brown on the figure. So I do like the way it looks, but I understand if you don't want to destroy the pieces. If you don't want to do that, then just have Groot stand on these 1x1s and call it a day. For Kevin Bacon, I wanted to keep it simple so that as many of you could build this figure as possible while also keeping it accurate. In order to do that, I used the legs and torso from Bruce Banner from Thor Ragnarok and Avengers Infinity War, because Kevin's kind of got an all-black outfit on here, so I thought that that worked pretty well. The head comes from Newt Scamander from Lego Fantastic Beasts, and I gave him some spiky black hair. Now, his hair in the series is kind of like a black and gray mixture, so I think you could go either way with it. I went with spiky black again to try and make this a figure that as many of you can make as possible, but I think you could go with whatever you wanted that had either of those two hair combos combined in. And finally, at the end of the episode, we get Drax and Mantis in ugly Christmas sweaters. So for Mantis, I used all the same pieces as earlier in the showcase, except the torso is the flipped around torso of Poe Dameron from Lego Star Wars. I think that turned out pretty good. And Drax, I just left exactly the way he comes out of the box from the Advent Calendar because I just wanted to give you a minifigure that is right out of the box, that if you don't have all the pieces to make Drax the way I showed you before, at least you could make this version by just using the one straight out of the box. So with that being said, let's zoom out. I'll give you you my final thoughts on this showcase and we can wrap it up. No pun intended. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Be sure to hit like and subscribe down below if you haven't already. I'll catch you guys soon, and until next time, build on. Well, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and maybe check out one of my other videos listed here.